G'day everyone. Today we're looking at Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke and the Albanese government's immigration record. High migration has strained housing, infrastructure and community cohesion. Burke was due to speak at the National Press Club this week on the work of managing the migration program. He postponed it at the last minute. Why? Because the government is still scrambling to finalise measures amid internal disagreement and rising public anger. Let's examine the numbers, the discontent and what this delay really signals. Start with the data from the Australian Bureau of Statistics on net overseas migration, arrivals minus departures, the key measure of population growth for migration. Before COVID, annual net overseas migration typically sat in the 180,000 to 260,000 range. In 2018 and 19, it was around 241,000. Then came the border closures. 2020-21 recorded a net loss of about 85,000. This was during COVID, of course. The rebound was massive. In 2022-23, the net overseas migration hit a record 538,000. The peak annual figure around September 2023 reached approximately 556,000. It fell to 429,000 in 2023-24 and about 306,000 in 24-25. This is the net overseas migration. For the year to December 2025, it sat roughly at 301,000. That's well above the pre-pandemic norm. The permanent migration program has been held at 185,000 places in recent years, roughly 132,000 skilled and 52,000 family. The government talks of bringing net overseas migration down towards 245,000 this financial year and a medium-term target of 225,000. Acting Prime Minister Richard Marles has pointed to a 45% drop from the post-pandemic peak, yet the cumulative intake over the last few years has been extraordinary and the system is still running hot. Australians have noticed. Multiple polls clearly show the majority have concerns about the migration program. Lowy Institute polling found 53 to 55% of people saying the total number of migrants each year is too high. More than half of us. A news poll found that 64% want fewer immigrants, including 39% who want a lot fewer. So almost 40% of us want way less. Institute of Public Affairs surveys reported that around 60% viewing current intakes as too high, with 71% supporting a temporary pause until more housing, schools, hospitals and roads are built, the infrastructure. One IPA poll found strong majorities, including among first-generation migrants and even some Labor and Greens voters, favouring much lower annual numbers. That's interesting. It's not just the right-wingers. Roy Morgan research shows the share of electors ranking managing immigration and population growth as an important issue has more than doubled since 2023. Resolve polling indicated many voters see the government's handling as unplanned and unmanaged. These views cut across demographics and are linked to the housing shortage, rising rents, cost of living pressures and stretched services. Support for One Nation has risen as mainstream parties have been seen as slow to respond. This is not abstract. Rapid population growth without matching infrastructure has real consequences for everyday Australians. Why was the press club address postponed? Well, Burke was scheduled to appear today, this Thursday this week. The speech was expected to outline further tightening measures to reduce net overseas migration, tougher family visa rules, caps or tighter conditions on backpackers and working holiday makers, restrictions on asylum seeker work rights and appeals, and continued prioritisation of onshore applicants already in the country for permanent visas. A quiet ministerial direction in late July already shifted processing priorities toward temporary migrants already here especially in certain fields to help curb new offshore arrivals. Then on short notice, it was postponed. The official line from Burke's office: some elements of the speech would not be finalised by Thursday. They are working with the press club on a new date, likely in the next fortnight, and say it will address the migration system as a whole. Okay, we'll be waiting to see what he says there. Reporting from the ABC, Guardian, Nightly and others paint a clearer picture. The measures were internally contentious. Cabinet discussion occurred, but finer details were still being ironed out. There is political sensitivity, pressure from the coalition, and especially from One Nation's rising support. Sources indicated that delay allows Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, who has been on leave, to help present and sell any changes. Government figures insist the changes will not push net overseas migration below existing targets, and some describe past forecasts as having been exceeded. Yeah, we need the real numbers. Come on, guys. In short, the government knows the politics have shifted. High post-COVID migration created a backlash. Burke's speech was meant to show control and responsiveness. Instead, the postponement looks like policy still being negotiated and under pressure, reactive rather than proactive. Critics from the coalition call it chaos and confusion. Even some Labor voices have attuned to voter angst. Tony Burke and the government inherited a post-pandemic surge, but they also set the settings that allowed net overseas migration to remain elevated for years while housing construction lagged and infrastructure struggled. Permanent program numbers stayed high. Temporary migration, students, workers, backpackers, drove much of the net figure. Only now, with polls turning to One Nation, and One Nation gaining, are tighter rules being finalised. Just political pressure, guys. A last-minute postponement of a major address because the details aren't ready is not strong management. It suggests a vision or caution about the political fallout. Australians have been clear in surveys. Many believe the rate has been too high and want it brought down more decisively with better alignment to housing and services. Whether the eventual announcement delivers meaningful, sustained reduction or amounts incremental adjustments remains to be seen. The numbers over the past years, the polling, and this week's delay all point to a government playing catch-up on an issue that has been obvious for some time. That's the situation as of early 2026. What do you think? Are the coming changes enough or too little too late? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. And if you want more straight analysis of Australian policy. Also, guys, it's the social cohesion, the type of people that they're bringing in. They really need to crack down on that and make sure that we can get people who assimilate, want to be Australians, want to be part of the Australian culture that they come to. I think, honestly, that's the biggest thing that most of us are concerned about. Let me know in the comments and we'll catch you on the next one.